All right, everybody. Today we're coming at you with the 2024 running back rankings. We're also going to come with our every episode 4 future bets that we like this year. And we're also going to discuss a little bit more on the Ollie Gordon situation.
Yeah, Dallas, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I'm glad to be here with you talking football some more. We've been watching the 2018 BCS Rose Bowl against your Dogs and my Sooners. I hate watching this game.
I love watching this game, man.
Every time I see it, it's tearing off a scab.
I mean, the better team won, you know?
Clearly not. Y'all, if the better team would have won, I believe we would have beat Alabama that year. But let's regress there and let's go into futures.
Yeah, for sure, man. So starting off with our futures, man, the very first one I have is University of Kentucky college football over 6.5 wins. So the Kentucky program is one that overachieves relative to expectation, I believe. They have really hit the transfer portal. They added 5-star former Georgia Go Dogs quarterback Brock Vandagriff. They added DJ Waller, a corner from Michigan, Jamon Dumas-Johnson, a linebacker from Georgia. They've added Christian Story, another secondary player from Alabama. They still have a dynamic duo of wide receiver with Dane Key and Barry and Brown, one of the more explosive players in the country. And then they have Jordan Davis Light and Deion Walker. So I think talent-wise, I think they're really ahead of where people believe they are. And then looking at their schedule, it really sets up well for them. They start off at 3 straight home games. Southern Miss, very winnable. South Carolina, winnable as well. Georgia, go Dogs, you know what's going on there. Ohio, also in Lexington. And then you have to travel to the Grove with Ole Miss. Vanderbilt's always winnable, no offense. Florida, a team that's really in disarray. They get Auburn at home. They have to travel to Rocky Top with Tennessee. They get Murray State at home. They have to travel to Austin, Texas. That'll be tough. And then they close the season with home against Louisville, which is always a rivalry game. So I really like Kentucky over 6.5 wins. I think that 7 wins is very manageable on that schedule. A lot of games at home, a lot of tough games at home as well. So I like Kentucky over 6.5 wins. Dallas, what you got for your first?
Vegas put that at 6.5 wins. That's kind of telling to me. I do think that Kentucky lost a lot. And they do have a tough schedule. But I'll go with you there. Yeah, I'll take that. My first pick is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to take, and I hate to say it. I'm going to take Quinn Ewers to win the Heisman Trophy this year. Texas has such a big footprint in college football. The media loves Texas, and Quinn Ewers is kind of the first real elite blue blood quarterback they've had in a while. I like the money on Quinn Ewers this year, and I think if they win like Vegas predicts them to win, and he kind of just replicates what he did last year, he's going to be fine. And I think he will win the Heisman. I think that the following behind him is too strong, and Texas is due for a Heisman.
Yeah, I see your logic there. I think this is a year that's going to be really wide open. There's no quarterback I expect to statistically run away with it. Other than Ollie Gordon, I don't see a running back that's really going to just put up overwhelming numbers. So, yeah, I can definitely see that. Yeah, if he can recover from the whooping that Georgia's going to put on them in Austin, then, yeah.
I'll be rooting for the Dogs that day. Horns down, though. Still horns down.
Nice, very nice, man. Transitioning to our third, I really like the under for the Arizona Cardinals this season, under 7.5 wins. I feel like 7.5 is set a little high for a Cardinals team that was one of the worst in football last year. I know the getting Kyler Murray back, assuming he's going to be healthy, the addition of an incredible talent, generational talent like Marvin Harrison. They've really started to draft really well the last couple of seasons. I've loved a lot of their draft choices, but I think they're building to the future more so than the present. They also play in the NFC West, which is one of the best, if not the best division in football. So I think the lack of pass rush specifically is going to haunt them. I feel like they have a solid run game with James Conner, and they really addressed that position in the draft by adding depth with Trey Benson. I feel like their offensive line is still a question mark. I feel like they don't really have the pass rush they need, and they're really young in the secondary as well. So I think that combination of factors, coupled with the division that they play in, I'm really leaning under 7.5 wins for the Arizona Cardinals.
All right. Cardinals on the under. All right, my last pick today and our last pick for this episode, I'm going to take the Florida Gators under 5.5 games. Now, that's kind of crazy because you hear the name Florida and you just think that they're an established football team. If you haven't been following the media around Florida right now, head coach Billy Napier is on the hot seat. I think there's a real chance that he's not even the coach 4 or 5 games into the season.
Definitely agree, man. That the program is being run so poorly. I think they've overhired at Florida. They have just pretty much anyone that's loosely associated with the program gets a job at the program. There's a bunch of associate coaches. They haven't recruited well at all.
They got Aaron Hernandez at tight ends coach right now.
It's a joke right now. And coupled with the fact that they're playing the toughest schedule in the country, one of the toughest of all time.
Yeah.
They have no chance of hitting over 5.5 wins, man. So,
and they do have, you said it. They have the hardest schedule in football this year. And it's not really even up for debate.
Yeah, it's bad, man.
Yeah.
So Billy Napier will be on someone's staff next year. So lock that in.
We'll see.
Well.
Do your research. He has a few lingering legal issues following him right now.
Yeah. It's all bad in Florida, which I don't mind, man.
It is bad. All right. So I'm sure everyone's heard the Ollie Gordon situation right now in Oklahoma State. I've done a lot of reading on this the last couple days, and if you don't know what's going on, star running back Oklahoma State Ollie Gordon was arrested for DUI under the age of 20 with open container here in Oklahoma City, which is sad to see. He's such a talent. I do feel like he's going to bounce back from it. But the crazier part is Coach Mike Gundy's response to the situation. At Big 12 Media Day, where Ollie was at, Mike Gundy made sure to make it a point that Ollie was going to play. And he really referred to him more as, an employee than an athlete. He said if he was, if he did take any kind of punishment, it would be running the ball 50 times the first game. Now, I kid, he's probably just kind of embellishing a little bit because that's kind of what Mike Gundy does. But a lot of people are upset about this. I know we've talked about this a little bit, but do you think even with those words, Ollie Gordon will have any kind of punishment, or do you think it should have been handled differently?
I think he should have handled it a little differently. It kind of sets the wrong precedence moving forward for the next player that has an alcohol-related incident that doesn't. The next player to get an alcohol-related incident, as long as no one is injured, you can't punish him. You can't play favorites. So it kind of puts him in a bad spot that way. I think he kind of overcorrected, trying to be cool, trying to be the cool coach, trying to be relatable to his players, and I think he took it a little far. Sometimes less is more, and I think in this situation he could have just said less, did the coach speak thing, got out of there. But well, it's interesting to see what happens moving forward. That's what I want to see, man.
What I will say about him is, no head coach has done more with less. He always has kind of overperformed, and I am a diehard OU fan. I hate Oklahoma State. But he always has been a coach who has a well-coached team every year.
Yeah.
With that, my opinion is there should be some sort of repercussion. The NFL, if one of those running backs, were to get a DUI, they're going to serve some sort of suspension.
Yeah, I think it just sends the wrong message from Mike Gundy's perspective, man.
He's a player's coach. I get that, but I think he leaned too far this time.
Yeah, I think he overcorrected, man. The good news is nothing happened with the young man. The athlete's good. Everyone around him was fine. There was no injuries. Nothing came of it other than just some poor decision making.
Gotcha.
So, hoping the best for him moving forward. Take the over for Ollie Gordon, man. He's going to have a huge season.
That first game, take the over. Whatever it is, take the over.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to our running back rankings.
Okay, so starting off at the top, I think it's no secret that everyone's going to pretty much have the exact same player at the top. Christian McCaffrey comes in 1 for us. The consensus rankings also have him 1. I think everywhere has Christian McCaffrey 1 for fantasy running backs. What can you really say? His numbers are off the charts last year. His touches, his volume is guaranteed. He's in one of the better offenses in the country, perhaps the most running back friendly offense in the country. He's running behind the best left tackle, Trent Williams. The offense is just bulletproof. Christian McCaffrey's volume is bulletproof. His production is there. He hasn't slowed down at all. So consensus 1, our number 1, but for both of us, the industry's number 1. Draft Christian McCaffrey 1. If you get him anywhere beyond 1, it's a value. What you think, man?
Don't get cute here. Christian McCaffrey is the number 1 pick this year in football, and it's not up for debate. There's a few lingering. I would say if there's any concerns is his age. He is going to be 28 here soon. He's going to be 29 here soon, I believe. I'll have to check my facts there. But you do notice a sharp decline in running backs if you follow the trajectories in running backs. Past the age of 27, there is a sharp decline in production. He hasn't shown that yet. He's only shown to be just as good as he always has. And in that scheme, I just don't think there's any slowing down for him.
Yeah, and the craziest thing is his efficiency. Like it's not taking a boatload of carries or targets to get production. He's getting production on everything. He's producing as a receiver. He's getting you catches in PPR format, especially. Like every catch is a point. There's just no way he's not producing at an elite level. One of the best seasons ever last year, fantasy seasons, and I expect something similar this year, man.
Do you think that there is anything with Christian McCaffrey's injury history scare you at all?
You kind of want to be the person. You want to be ahead of the curve and not behind it. So you want to. I tried that. I thought before last year, the injury bug would catch up with him. I was like, all right, I'm going to fade a little McCaffrey here, projecting an injury, and then I look dumb in the face. You know what I mean? So I'm just going to just keep drafting Christian McCaffrey at 1 every chance I get until he shows me otherwise, man. I know he's had injury history, but he's still going strong, man.
The risk does not outweigh the reward on this one.
Right.
There is a chance every running back can go down. It's that's just the nature of the game. But the reward is just so huge with Christian McCaffrey. You got to take him. He is a 3, 4, 5 point advantage every week.
At least.
Every week.
Man. And also, pro tip, if you're going to draft Christian McCaffrey 1 and you do have valid injury concerns, make sure you couple that with drafting Isaac Guerendo late. He's a rookie running back from Louisville. Before that, Wisconsin. Draft Isaac Guerendo. Thank me later.
Okay, let's move on to Breece Hall coming in at number 2. I love Breece Hall. I think he is one of these guys. We're going to see a few running backs here that just greatly benefited this upcoming season due to improved quarterback play. Both number 2 and 3 are very similar. I'm not going to say a whole lot of Breece Hall other than if you just look what he did last year coming off a seasoning ACL tear the year before that. What he did towards the end of the year with an abysmal offense, terrible run blocking offense, and Zach Wilson at quarterback. He has a pedigree coming out of college of how great he was, and what he can do in the passing game is, I wouldn't say Christian McCaffrey level, but he is up there with Christian McCaffrey in my eyes.
Yeah, he really benefited last year from an absence of reliable targets other than Garrett Wilson last year. So he got a lot of dump offs, and he maximized those. He turned into a valid receiving running back. Like that part of his game really flourished last year. So I can see a little regression there as far as the amount of targets, but he's going to be on the field all the time, man. They didn't try to add anyone behind him. Like he's going to be the bell cow for an offense that's going to feature a Hall of Fame, MVP caliber quarterback Aaron Rodgers. Garrett Wilson on the outside. Draft Breece Hall as much as you can. He's at worst second, third running back, in the league right now, fantasy-wise.
In our home league, Mike, I got to keep Breece Hall in the 4th round.
Amazing value there,
yeah,
man.
I'm really happy about that. All right, Who do we got for number 3?
Number 3, we have Bijan Robinson. And Bijan Robinson has the hype train is in full effect for Bijan. I believe the report came out today. I don't have the exact quote, but I know his offensive coordinator, Zach Robinson, was talking about using him in a similar method, in a similar way that they use Christian McCaffrey, which tells me they're going to pepper him with targets, so that even more of an uptick, especially for PPR format. And he's going to be on the field a lot. I think that means it's going to be less Tyler Algier, which, he's just a fantasy pest anyway, but just full hype train forward with Bijan Robinson, man. Sky's the limit on the talent itself. He's phenomenal. I think that offense, now he has a valid quarterback. He actually has a quarterback that can actually get him the ball in space. Draft Bijan Robinson a lot.
Yep, I like Bijan. He was a coin toss, and that might even get closer to the season. Him and Breece Hall are just so similar. You brought up Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is coming off a pretty serious injury. We don't even know if Kirk Cousins is going to be just ready to go and be the same Kirk Cousins.
I feel like a 60% Kirk Cousins and a hobbled Kirk Cousins is 10 times better than a healthy Desmond Ridder. So I feel like that's a huge uptick at quarterback. That's a huge upgrade at quarterback for the Falcons. I'm loving Bijan Robinson. I love the floor and the ceiling this year. So
okay. So if you had to choose an offense led by a coming off injury Kirk Cousins or a coming off injury Aaron Rodgers.
Ooh, good one. I believe with the same weapons.
Yeah, same weapons.
I feel like Aaron Rodgers is such a radical talent, and we've seen him do things that other quarterbacks just really can't do. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to go with the more talented player. I'm going to go with Aaron Rodgers there, but that's a good one. That is a good one.
I like it. All right. Let's go to number 4. Number 4 is the Jonathan Taylor from the Indianapolis Colts. Jonathan Taylor is a freak athlete. Just 2 years ago, he was a number 1 player overall. Last year he came into the year with some contract disputes. Then he hurt his thumb and went right to the pup for 4 weeks. I remember you had him. I was really trying hard to get him from you. Yeah. Towards the end of the year, I think the last 10 games in the year, Jonathan Taylor was touching the ball 19 to 20 times a game. I believe he was a top 5 running back at the second end of the year. And he will do that again. I think some people are scared with Anthony Richardson playing with Jonathan Taylor and kind of how that's going to work in the red zone. I'm not. Jonathan Taylor is a blue blood running back. Yeah, he's going to lose some work on that goal line with having Anthony Richardson behind the center. But still, you got to take him. I think the tear drop off behind Jonathan Taylor, there is a tear drop off.
Absolutely. I feel the opposite way. I don't feel scared off by having Anthony Richardson there on the goal line. I know Anthony Richardson's a dynamic rushing threat. I feel like that serves as an advantage to Jonathan Taylor, pulling off that end that has to play contain on Anthony Richardson. So I'm drafting Jonathan Taylor firmly in the second round, right at that 1-2 turn. Maybe even sometimes he slips to the middle of the second. So I love that value there for Taylor. When he plays, he's so efficient. He gets so many carries, and he's been clocked at 23 miles an hour running. He's one of the fastest in the open field. He's durable between the tackles. They have a good offensive line there. I feel like the Colts are going to be a really surprising team this year. More to come on that. Mm-hmm. And I think Jonathan Taylor is one of the safest picks in fantasy, especially if you want to anchor your team with the 2 running back format we talked about. If you pick in the end of the first, obviously picking the beginning of the second. So, yeah, rock solid selection with Jonathan Taylor.
Okay. Yeah, so we had Jonathan Taylor at number 4 consensuously. I actually had him at number 5. My number 4 is the next guy who we came in together at number 5 is Jahmyr Gibbs from the Detroit Lions. Jahmyr Gibbs does rival Christian McCaffrey on the receiving end. He is a true game breaker. If you get the ball in 1 yard, he is gone. He is gone. There is nobody on the field who can catch Jahmyr Gibbs. He's a freak athlete. Freakishly fast. He's a game breaker. What he did last year when David Montgomery went out was unprecedented. Let's just edit that word.
Yeah,
Let's edit that word out. Golly, I'm tearing it up tonight.
Yeah, Gibbs is just so good in short space. Obviously, he started off at Georgia Tech and then transferred to Alabama. So I've seen a lot of Jahmyr Gibbs as a Georgia fan. He's so dynamic in closed space. He can make you miss in a phone booth, and then his straight line speed is crazy. They're hyper targeting him too in the passing game. The dump offs from Jared Goff, Jared Goff in big games, Jared Goff gets tight and dumps the ball off a lot. So I like the volume he's going to have. I like them to start transitioning off of David Montgomery and placing them to more of a goal line role, more of a short yardage back, and then giving Jahmyr Gibbs even more touches than he had last year.
David Montgomery's still going to be a presence, though. He will be there, and they're going to have games where the Jahmyr Gibbs owner is going to be pissed watching football. Because David Montgomery, there's going to be games where he has 2 goal line touchdowns. It's going to happen. But it's a great offense. He's a great talent, and he has great supporting pieces around him. He's going to score a lot of points.
Oh, yeah. Big fan of him, man. And then moving on after Gibbs, our number 6 running back, we have Saquon Barkley. He is number 6 for both of us. He's number 6 in the consensus for the industry as well. I feel like Saquon Barkley is one of the best athletes the game has ever seen at running back. He's transitioning from the Giants to a rival, to the Eagles. The Eagles have, in my opinion, the best offensive line in football, even after losing Jason Kelce. And then he's playing next to Jalen Hurts, so that's another, when running backs play next to rushing quarterbacks, adds another dynamic wrinkle. The talent is off the charts. The athleticism is off the charts. The opportunity I believe he's going to get in Philly is off the charts. That's just another rock solid safe pick in the second round with Saquon Barkley.
Have we seen Jalen Hurts check down to a running back yet?
That's not really, to be fair, not really, man. That's not really a part of his game. But I feel like the nature of the carries he's going to get versus what he had with the Giants. And the Giants, he never had a dominant offensive line. He never had a even average quarterback. Mm-hmm. Now he gets an above average quarterback with arguably the best offensive line, and he has dynamic weapons on the outside to take, corners off the boundary. So I think the nature of the carries he's going to get are very, very, very nice for him.
There's no doubt this is the best offense that Saquon Barkley has ever played on. You know,
Easily.
we've always said if he was on a better offense, well, he hasn't now. Let's see what happens. I worry that maybe he's taken enough hits now that we will start seeing a decline in that athleticism. We wish we would have seen this more in his prime. I think we're, have a different conversation at that point. But I do like Saquon Barkley. I love that offense. I hate the team. I hate the whole trailer park organization. The Eagles suck. But I do like him here.
The only downside I see to Saquon Barkley is around the goal line. Philly loves to run the tush push. They love to run it with Jalen Hurts at the goal line. So I can see that. I can see him losing out on some opportunities around the goal line. But past that, I have absolutely no hesitancy, nothing.
Hesitation. Got you there.
Yeah,
I got
appreciate
you.
it, man. I definitely high on Barkley other than that, man.
Okay. I like it.
What do you got for our number 7 running back?
So number 7, we're across the board here. We all have Kyren Williams. Kyren Williams is making me nervous. People don't give him let's give him his roses right now. What Kyren Williams did last year was amazing. Nobody saw that coming. I wish we saw that coming. We could have made a lot of money.
Right.
If we would have known that was happening last year, we could be rich right now. He's having some lingering issues throughout this offseason. With that, the stress of that made the team go out and draft Blake Corum out of Michigan. Now, that offense has never really portrayed 2 running backs. It's always been a workhorse running back. That gives me a little bit of, I feel safer with that, but he will fall for me. He won't stay at number 7 for me.
I believe in his opportunity. I believe in the offense. I did not believe in his athletic profile pre-draft, but he's really surprised me. And like you said, McVay likes to use a specific running back. He likes the single running back, bell cow, and I think they have that with him. A lot of people are handcuffing Kyren Williams with Blake Corum, rookie from Michigan.
Yeah.
I can see why you have a little reservation on him. I think 7 is a really safe area for him. I think his volume is safe, and I think the nature of the carries he's going to get in that offense, in a McVay offense, give me that all day, man.
Well, would you be surprised come beginning of the year we do see Blake Corum as the workhorse running back?
I would be very surprised if he took over as the workhorse running back. I would not be surprised if he took over some work. I can see the Kyren Williams injury bug kind of creeping in and that playing a part. But if we're going to project everyone's healthy, and if he's healthy, I think his volume is guaranteed. And if he gets the volume he got last year, I can see him finishing as a high-end running back 1.
If Kyren Williams goes down with injury, Blake Corum is a huge pickup. He's a waiver wire pick of the week if he's not already on a roster.
Yeah, absolutely handcuff Blake Corum to Kyren Williams if you choose to invest in Kyren Williams high. And then he's going in the 2nd round, so great value there for Kyren Williams. After Kyren Williams, we get into our number 8 overall running back.
Yep.
We have Derrick Henry, number 8. This is, I think we were really split on this one. This is where we start to differ a little more. The consensus running back 8 was Derrick Henry. I think you had Isaiah Pacheco.
The way our rankings is, Mike has a list, I have a list, and then we take the industry consensus. We weigh the industry consensus 2 to 1, 2 to 1 to 1. So yes, the industry consensus on here won out. Me and you split who we had here, and they split again with Derrick Henry. So Derrick Henry did fall to 8 here, and that is just Derrick Henry. He's scary to me. I mean, he's on the best. He's on I can't say the best offense he's ever been on. He's on a good offense, and they're going to score a lot. This will be for our next episode, but go ahead and mark it down now. Derrick Henry, double-digit touchdowns this year. He will fall into the end zone 10 times.
100%. I've already locked that in everywhere. He will at least get 10 rushing touchdowns this season.
Yeah.
Consensus 8 feels a little high because of his age, because of the mileage on him. He is a high mileage at Alabama, high mileage in high school. I think he's the all-time leading rusher for high school football.
Which, if you've watched his high school highlights, Derrick Henry,
which is not fair,
he was 31 back then. How old is he now?
Right? But yeah, he's just extremely high mileage from high school. Alabama, same thing. And then in the NFL with the Titans, he's gotten what feels like 1 million carries every year.
How is him and I the same even species? He is not. It's not fair. Why can I hit the genetic lottery?
Right?
That's not fair.
Yeah, Derrick Henry is a problem, man. So I think a lot of people are projecting his age, like we talked about, all the carries, the mileage, to catch up with him. But until he does, man, he's still Derrick Henry. He can still take any run to the house. And he's playing next to Lamar Jackson. So that really benefits a running back's playing next to a dynamic rushing quarterback threat once again. So that's why he's at number 8. I personally have him at number 9. And I think, Dallas, you were a little lower on him than that.
Yeah, he actually fell out of the top 10 for me.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what he does. This is the best team he's played on. I will say that. It's the best quarterback he's played with yet.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's see. He will fall in the end zone 10 times, though.
Absolutely. Lock it in.
All right, here we go. Somebody that you're not quite as high on as I am. I'm starting to get higher and higher on this guy. I think he could go all the way up to 7 for me. And that is Jacksonville's Travis Etienne. Very French. Travis Etienne, the beginning of last year, he lit the world on fire. The first half of the season. Yeah. Travis Etienne, when you drafted him, you thought that you really had a season winner. He has that continuity with Trevor Lawrence there, and I think that offense is going to be better because Trevor Lawrence is healthier this year. People forget Trevor Lawrence had some injury issues last year.
Big time.
Don't think he has the backup problems like some people are scared of his backup. I'm not. I think he is the alpha in that room, and he's going to continue. Take Travis Etienne.
Yeah. I was lower on Travis Henry prior to. I'm starting to raise or get higher on Travis Henry. I'm sorry. Losing my mind. Travis Etienne.
Very French. Is Etienne a French name?
Sounds French, right?
Yeah. I think. Is Etienne a French name? Do you know?
Etienne. Yeah.
I don't think he knows either.
I feel like, where is Etienne? Is he from Florida? Is he from Louisiana?
Let's look that up. Could you look where Travis Etienne's from?
Thank you, sir.
While he's doing that.
Yeah, while he's doing that, I am starting to raise on Travis Etienne. Everything I hear from their training camp, from their beat reporters, is negative about Tank Bigsby, who I really liked last year and who I liked pre-draft. Mm-hmm. So with all the negative reports I'm hearing from Tank Bigsby, and I know Doug Peterson wants to get, take a little stress off of Etienne, it just sounds like it's going to be the Etienne show all day.
Yep.
From Louisiana.
Oh, there it is.
It's French, yeah.
Yep.
It's
That's the same
very
shit.
French. So, yeah, I think the more I hear about Bigsby not living up to his billing, the more I want to draft Travis Etienne earlier. So, and right now Etienne's coming off the board in the 3rd, so I think that represents value for him.
Yes.
And that volume in itself, and then having that whole backfield to yourself next to a Trevor Lawrence, who's a dynamic talent, I think Etienne's a really good pick.
Pairing like a CeeDee Lamb or a Tyreek Hill with a Travis Etienne in the 2nd or early 3rd is it's going to be a great start to your draft.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Let's go to number 10.
Number 10, we have Isaiah Pacheco. Isaiah Pacheco is a player that I was really high on pre-draft, and he's actually turned from a 7th-round pick to a starting running back for the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs are transitioning from we all think of the Chiefs as this dynamic passing offense because of Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. They're really turning into a running team that's great on defense.
Yep.
And I think that's the identity of the Chiefs. It's morphing before our eyes. I think Isaiah Pacheco has that entire backfield basically to himself. Clyde Edwards-Helaire has been a bust. He's kind of shown that he was really, really overdrafted. Pacheco's getting the majority of the touches there. Jerick McKinnon, I don't believe, has been signed to this day. So I think that just bodes well for Pacheco's volume. What do you got?
Yeah, Clyde Edwards-Helaire might not even make this roster this season. Gosh, looking back on that now, I know the Kansas City Chiefs they wake up in the middle of the night with cold sweats thinking they could have had Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah. Crazy.
And they took Clyde.
Yeah.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, Isaiah Pacheco. He fell right out of my top 10. I actually have Ken Walker here out of Seattle. We'll save that. But Isaiah Pacheco, he gets the volume monster, and he runs violently. He runs like my 2-year-old when I'm trying to give him a bath. Every step he takes, I know is going to go through the turf.
Yeah. That's one thing that I think gives me a little pause with him is the way that he runs, the nature of his carries. He's really running. He's giving it everything.
He wants to play. If there's anyone on the field who wants to play, Isaiah Pacheco, you can tell, wants to play football.
He's running into people full speed. He never turns down the funk, man. He's going at you.
He's in black Air Forces on the field out there.
Yeah, man. So, yeah, I think Isaiah Pacheco, I'm going to check on his ADP, but I feel like in every best ball draft I've done, I've gotten Isaiah Pacheco in round 4 or 5.
3 or 4. Yep. He's actually getting drafted up right now. He's crawling in the early 4th round. Yeah. On the apps, I'm using Yahoo most of the time. Best ball, you can get him very late on Underdog.
Got you. Yeah, so I think that's a value, especially if you decide to go, with 3 wide receivers, because some of these best ball drafts have 3 wide receiver format. I draft on drafters, and they default to the 3 wide receiver format. So that's a good zero RB. If you start off with the zero RB strategy, that's a great running back to start off with high volume, and you get the goal line touches.
Yeah,
that's a good volume to start. That's a good running back to start off with.
You said that this offense is kind of morphing into a run-heavy offense, which I agree it is. The last year it looked that way.
Yeah.
But they did bring Xavier Worthy, rookie out of Texas, and they brought in Marquise Brown from Arizona.
Yeah.
Does that kind of bother you at all? Maybe they are trying to spread this offense back out, and that could help Isaiah Pacheco.
I think those guys help Travis Kelce more than they help Pacheco. I feel like they free up things for Kelce in the middle of the field. I still think when it gets down to the goal line, I know the Chiefs throw a lot around the goal line, but I think now with the type of players that they have on that roster, hand it off to Pacheco, man. I don't think they really have – Worthy's not really a red zone threat. Hollywood Brown's not really a red zone threat. Rasheed Rice more so than either of those two. But
we don't know what's going on with him right now.
Yeah, so we'll see with him. But, yeah, hand it off to Pacheco around the goal line, man. I really like Pacheco this year, man.
All right, let's give one honorable mention. Let's you give me one first. Someone who's kind of falls right out of your top 10.
Man, I know someone I'm higher on than most. I know we discussed Ken Walker. That's a guy that we both really like a lot. But another guy I believe in, and I'm going to sound like a homer, but I think Zamir White will surprise this year based just purely on the fact he's going to have a lot of opportunity. He has a quarterback that's not a world beater in Aiden O'Connell, but I believe he's going to get a lot of volume. If you look at him at the end of last year, as the Chiefs, he's a really capable running back. When he gets a lot of opportunities, he really shines. And I think he's going to get a lot of opportunities with Vegas this year, with Alexander Madison being behind him, number 2. I don't believe in Alexander Madison. I don't think he's going to stay the number 2 running back. I think Zamir White's going to be good for at least 20 carries a game. Okay.
Well, if you had to stat Zamir White out for this season, what are you thinking?
I would think he would go about 1,100.
Oh, Mike.
1,100.
Mike.
8 touchdowns.
That's a big 1,100 yards.
You know how many carries he's going to get this year, man?
I'll take that bet with you.
We can lock that in. We're going to have our we can have a segment moving forward where we lock in bets that we disagree on with each other, and we will put a little friendly wager or something.
Okay, you got to put if he does not eclipse 1,100 yards, you got to put a picture of Baker Mayfield on all of your social media for a year.
Man, people are going to think I'm a loser, man. It's crazy.
Don't put his name in vain.
But, yeah, we'll discuss that. We'll lock in the terms of the bet moving forward, man.
All right, one more person for me. I said Ken Walker. This guy is kind of flying under the radar this year. He got a little bit of steam preseason last year, but James Cook out of Buffalo. James Cook, towards the end of the year last year, was on a burner. Other than that last week, he was absolutely with the kind of – when they were – kind of scheming Stephon Diggs out of the offense. James Cook took a huge role increase in volume. He does well catching the ball out of the backfield. One thing that was kind of bad for him last year, he only fell in the end zone twice. I think that has to go up this year. With the loss of Gabe Davis to Jacksonville and Stephon Diggs going to Houston, a lot of times people think that when you lose 2 huge receivers who take up so many receptions, that the next receiver coming in is usually just takes those receptions. That's not always the case. If you go back and look, the running back usually does see the uptick in receptions that year. The running back and the tight end really benefit more than anybody.
That is a fact. I think James Cook is really going to have the majority of that offense. If you look behind him, they drafted a rookie, Ray Davis, from Kentucky. So they haven't really tried to bring in a lot of competition for him. And I think that bodes well with the vacated targets like we talked about in Buffalo. The only thing is rushing touchdowns don't really seem to really go his way. They really default to Josh Allen primarily, and then they throw the ball in the red zone also. And then they just added Keon Coleman, who's a jump ball threat. So I don't like the rushing touchdown outlook for James Cook, but I do like the amount of touches and the amount of yards he should have in that offense.
I think we're looking at a baseline of 4 touchdowns, rush touchdowns this year. The numbers that you're saying about Zamir White, I think – I would also give the James Cook.
Yeah.
I think he'll get right at 1,000 rushing yards and another 300 on the receiving end.
Keep in mind, he had 1,122 yards last year.
Yeah.
So James, I feel like his volume is guaranteed, and it's probably going to go up, and that goes up even a little bit, man. You're looking at around 1,200 yards. Probably can double 2 touchdowns to 4, so that's a really solid floor for fantasy. So he should finish right around top 10, fringe top 10.
That's top. That's what we got. What else do you have for us today, Mike?
Man,
You got anything else?
Yeah, a couple things on as far as fantasy running backs. What is your outlook on the Steelers' backfield? We have Jalen Warren, Najee Harris. What side are you on? It feels like people are starting to really sour or have soured on Najee Harris. They're kind of going with the Jalen Warren, the more explosive, the more sexy pick, Paul. So what do you think about that backfield? And are you drafting them?
This is kind of this is a very aggressive take on my end. I know that, but I'm very high on Najee Harris this year.
Wow.
Yes, I'm very high on him.
Where would you draft him in a 12-team format, half PPR? Where are you comfortable drafting him?
I would take him in the 5th round.
Wow. Yeah, you're very comfortable with Najee Harris, man.
I'm very comfortable with him this year.
Man, I just don't know if he's going. And I know he's really safe as far as volume because he's gotten a lot. I just don't see myself drafting Najee this year, man. I feel like Jalen Warren is the more explosive player. I know Najee's in a contract year, so we expect the running backs to kind of really put on in their contract year, man. But I just don't see it, man.
Gotcha. I do. I see it this year. I hate the Steelers too. I know. I got to quit saying that. I don't hate all these teams except for the
hate
Eagles.
Everybody.
The Eagles and Texas, and I don't hate OSU. They're just little brother. But I do hate Philadelphia for sure. I absolutely hate the Eagles.
Man. Nice, man. Well, yeah, that concludes our top 10 running back rankings and a little running back talk as well, man. Dallas, you got anything on the subject?
Yeah, we aren't the know-all. Far from it. But we want to know if you have any kind of bets that you like this year. Let us know. Comment, message us in the social platforms, the Horse and the Hound podcast, pretty much everywhere. And we'll share that. We'll shout you out, and we'll share that on here. Spread the wealth. If you have success, let us know, and let's spread that to everybody. Yeah,
this is a show by fans and for fans, man. Like, we were communicating with another fan in the YouTube comments. We would love to have you on if you're big into fantasy football like us. You want to do some mock drafts or do some best ball drafts. Get in here with us, man. We'd love to communicate with you and talk ball with you, man. And not just football, basketball as well, man. Any sports stuff, man. Hit us up.
Let's go, Mike. Good one.
Yeah, man.
All right. That does it.
Signing off, Horse and the Hound.
See ya.